and welcome to Mental Health, the Up&Up. I am Anna, your host, and we're talking with Geraldine Peterson, licensed mental health counselor, to give you the Up&Up on mental health with ideas that are clear, helpful, and maybe even fun. In this series, we are talking about general wellness and what seeking mental health care looks like. And in this episode specifically, we are talking about finding a counselor. Geraldine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Geraldine. I've been a therapist for over 25 years. I've worked with a variety of people, and part of this podcast is trying to take what people have said to me about what's been helpful and pass it on to you. So I want to share the ideas that clients have said worked for them. Quick disclaimer, I'm a therapist, but this isn't therapy. These are simply ideas for you to think about on your own or to talk about with your own therapist. And last podcast we talked about kind of the nuts and bolts about finding a therapist, and this time I want to talk more about finding a therapist that's a good fit for you, or kind of how to tell whether a therapist is a good fit for you.
Awesome. So I
Yes.
remember last time when we just touched on this subject, the three things that you said that I loved because it was a nice sum up was whoever your counselor is, they should make you feel heard, should make you feel understood, and they should make you feel safe. So those are
Yeah.
kind of our guiding lines that we're going to explore today.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love that. I love that brilliant thing that I said, Anna.
It was really good.
But those are all true. So I'm going to start with just some kind of ideas to kind of rule in or rule out a therapist when you're looking for therapy, and how you do find that out. And some things you find out simply by asking. So you can ask your therapist what they specialize in. Most therapists work with anxiety and depression, and many therapists work with many issues. You don't necessarily need a therapist who specializes in something to work with you. It is helpful that they have enough of an understanding of that issue to work with you. For example, if you're going to therapy with family dynamic issues, it may or may not be helpful to find a therapist who specializes in family issues. If there's something real specific you're looking for, or that has a part of why you're seeking therapy, a cultural background, a religious background, a lived experience, you can ask your therapist about their experience working with that. It's not necessarily vital that they say, oh, I specialize in that particular issue. And sometimes it might even be helpful if they aren't quite as familiar with the issue as you are. An example I use is that I often see clients actually probably always see clients with different religious views as mine, different political views as mine. And it's not at all necessary that I share those views or that I have the same background. Often it's helpful for you as a client to clarify your own beliefs by explaining those to a therapist. So you're probably not going to find a therapist with exactly your same belief system or cultural identity, or lived experience as you, as long as you can communicate about it.
And sometimes that fresh perspective is super helpful because it's hard to have growth when you're living in a vacuum and everyone around you is in the same bubble. They have the same beliefs, the same structure. And so sometimes getting that outside perspective is very helpful to help you see where the value is in what you do believe and to define it, like you said. So absolutely.
I've heard from clients who have very different experiences from me that they appreciate that I don't come from that. excuse me, that I don't come from that same background. And often I've asked them, why didn't you seek out a counselor who shares that religious belief, or who has the same military experience, or who is or isn't a parent? And they'll say, I already know what those people or that system is going to say. I
Mhm.
already know that. I want to jump out of my system and see what somebody who wasn't raised the same way, or wasn't raised in the same experience, or doesn't have the same belief system, views this particular issue.
Yeah.
So in that way, people have said that's been helpful, that I don't fully, have a grasp of their specific situation. And again, you're never going to find a therapist who matches that exactly. It,
I know, on the same topic, but kind of broadening, I know that you and I have talked before, though, that with counseling, which is not, it's not typical in a lot of fields, with counseling, it is absolutely acceptable and normal to request somebody who, maybe not with your spiritual beliefs, but who I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
I'll jump in and say, you can ask for a male or a female counselor.
Right,
You can ask
exactly.
for a counselor with your same sexual orientation. However, truly what you're asking for is someone who has enough information about that background. But it's not taboo to say, I'd like a female therapist. It's not taboo to say, I'd like a therapist who's also served in the military.
Hmm.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
the point of that, I think, is for comfort more than anything.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, go ahead.
I'll say for comfort and shorthand too,
Yeah.
because I personally have not shared, don't have a military experience. So when if I see someone in the military and they start talking about the protocols that I just don't understand, they do have to take a little more time to explain to me that you can't just call in sick if you're in the military as easily as if you're not, or
Right.
what promotion looks like, or um, I will also say that comfort and kind of shorthand, and not having to go through the process of explaining, this is what this religion believes, or this is what my religion believes, or this is how the military operates.
Hmm.
While it is sometimes helpful to explain that to an outsider, or someone who doesn't have that shared experience, because it does help you clarify your own beliefs and your own experiences. I want to tell a story that happened to me when I was working on the crisis line. Um, I had I was listening to a call come in, and a male answerer answered the phone, and I heard him say, I will find you someone female to talk to if you want that, but I want to say something first. And my gut reaction was, this was probably someone who'd experienced a sexual trauma, and how dare that male answerer not just pass her right on to a female, right? Because
Yeah.
of course that's uncomfortable. It's going to be more uncomfortable if you were attacked by a man to talk to a man about fear of men,
Yeah.
or whatever. But what he said has stuck with me after literally more than over 20 years. He said, he definitely gave her the option and said, I will pass you on to someone else who's female if that's what you want. But I don't want whatever happened to you to take away people who may be supportive of you, by you thinking that half the population just could never understand that situation, or half the population, the male half of the population, wouldn't be able to help you in that situation. So what he said was, I don't want to limit your resources by supporting the belief that only females would be able to understand that. And quite honestly, I don't remember if he passed her on to a female answerer or continued on with the conversation himself. But I like that idea of not letting whatever experience you have limit the people who could help you by believing only someone who's a parent could understand parenting issues, or only someone who's female could understand um, sexism, or only someone who's, you know, Mormon could understand the Mormon faith. And therefore, those people, by saying that, those people are all of a sudden outside of the pool of people who might be able to help me.